Here we are again with another triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. And we are so excited to jump into everything. There's going to be lots of triathlon talk like usual, but we're recording a couple days later than usual, which ended up being perfect timing for something absolutely epic that happened in the cycling world that honestly had me getting a little bit emotional, but we will dive into all of that. Let's get started. What's going on in our world with racing and training? I got Josh and Fede with me as always. But let's start with you, Fede. What have you been up to?
Hey guys, just been chipping away. The training is back in full swing. So yeah, doing a lot of like VO2 thresholdy type of sessions, which I forgot how painful those are. I just watched a Gustav Iden video that I think Giant and Surpass uploaded about his getting back into shape, and I feel him like it's hard to bounce back. So taking it day by day, but yeah, happy to be training and excited. What about you guys?
Excellent. Yeah, we love to hear that you're getting back to it. How about you, Josh? What do you got going on?
I spent the last 5 or so days in Florida, not for heat training, family vacation, but it ended up being a lot of heat training. I had a lot of runs on the training schedule and wanted to catch up on some sleep. So I got some late starts to kick off the week. And I think it feels like was around 102 degrees for some good hour-long runs, and was not really pushing it this week. It was more with the travel and everything else like that. It was more about just getting some volume in and getting in the open water swims and things like that. So my runs were keep the heart rate down. So I actually had to walk a little bit on the first run on an out and back, and didn't have as much water as I probably should have had. I felt fine, but I just wanted to keep it under protocol and do what I need to do. So second run took a little bit more water with me. Went about an hour or so earlier and ended up running another half mile on the same time distance. So I was like getting acclimated. My Garmin actually has me at 100% acclimated, which is a first for me coming from up here in New England and in the cold. So haven't really focused on it before, but man, it made a huge difference. I had hill repeats yesterday before getting on the plane, and the one hill, which is a bridge from the island back to the mainland in West Palm Beach, I ran up and down 8 times yesterday, and it was an awesome run. Felt great. Heat acclimated, perfectly fine. I was soaking wet when I got back to the resort, and just felt good. And it was a great week, family vacation, and got a lot of training done. Got a lot of good food, and restaurants, and water time, and sun time, and vitamin D. So feeling good. Went for a bike ride right before we recorded here, and was out for an hour and a half and had an average heart rate that was like 20, 30 beats below where it normally would be on a ride like that. So I would imagine that 20-degree temperature change had a huge factor there. So body is acclimated, ready to race in the summertime. So I've got Maine. Betty and I have Maine coming up in a couple weeks now. So he's got all 70.3. I only have 56 miles.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Yeah, seems like there's going to be a fair bit of the team out there going out and racing. So it's always fun. I see you've got the Mana kit on there too. So
didn't even have time to change. I got back from my ride, had dinner, and sat down to record. So yeah.
Appreciate the dedication, and definitely a nice kit to ride in. Oh, that's awesome to hear. It sounds like you're getting some of that heat training in and feeling good.
Yeah, it's I think it was something that I hadn't focused on before, and just trying to add another piece to the puzzle, especially with a lot of this summertime stuff. Hey, and look, even in October, Chicago could be warm too. So I've got Maine in the middle of end of July, and then I've got Boston Olympic Super Tri in the middle of August in Boston. So I'll be ready for those body-wise, heat-wise. Staying healthy. I did do. Oh, the other thing I added this week too is because I had access to a full gym whenever I wanted was a lot of strength training. So
excellent. That makes me happy.
did a bunch of strength training sessions. Still feeling those hammer curls. I was walking around like I had my arm in a sling one day. but it was good. And the open water swim, man, I did the swim. Janine came down to the beach and was just kind of walking around, just A to B, keep an eye on me. And there was a bunch of people in there, but I was swimming outside them. Beautiful water, crystal clear. Got in. I was like, man, I did 500 in like a low sevens, maybe even in the sixes, which was like phenomenal for me. And then I got up and I was like, let me turn around and go back. And I did about 200 in about 6 or 7 minutes. There's the current. All right. So we're going to do point to point.
That's the way to go.
She said she had to like almost walk jog to keep up with me. So that felt good. But yeah, it was the strength training was another big addition. It was another piece that we adjusted for this week and with the travel. So let's get it in while we have that access to that equipment and a little bit more time right there with me. So I feel good about that. Needed it.
Awesome. Sounds like fun. Yeah. Well, speaking of heat acclimation, I have started to do some of that, realizing that Australia is just hot all the time, apparently. So I've been hearing my Australian friends complaining about the winter and it's cold. And I go to look at the forecast in Townsville where I'll be doing the Duathlon World Champs. And it's like 10 degrees hotter overnight and 10 degrees hotter during the day than it is here during technically summer. So yeah, getting back in the sauna to do some heat training going in, because if that is winter and I'll be heading over during winter, heading towards spring. So I need some heat prep. It has definitely been a slow start here.
It's a killer on the run, especially too. Like you might be able to survive the bike, but that second run, that's gonna get brutal.
Totally.
Yeah. Absolutely. So gonna get back on that. I think I'm a little scarred from the heat prep training going into Kona last year. So I'm taking a little bit of mental toughness to get back in there. Haven't quite gotten to what I was doing pre-Kona, but got some time to build up, and I've realized it's like 5 weeks until I head over, which is absolutely insane.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to be heading to a race, not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm going to go head over to beautiful Victoria, BC, and do a duathlon over there to try a few things.
Awesome.
And yeah, looking forward to that. This one's a little different. It's on the Ironman Victoria 70.3 course, which is basically a trail, which definitely mixes up a bit. Feels better on the legs from a recovery status, but definitely harder to get that speed because you just don't have that firm surface to push off of. And that's another race where I've got some mental scars from the 70.3 over the years, but it is fun to suffer even more there. And actually just dropped off my bike, my Aragon E19, actually ended up getting from one of our teammates an oversized pulley wheel with the aero cover. Again, my obsession with the aero stuff is coming to
every watt.
And
every one counts.
Yes.
Hey, next time we're gonna see Jenna rocking those shades the guys that we're wearing right now.
You know that comes at the door tomorrow. Kat had it on, she's got it.
Even going to the point of getting wireless blips for the front of my bike so there's no wires or anything hanging out at all. So the fitness isn't quite where I wanted it to be, but I will be aero AF. So we'll see if that can make up some of the difference in there. It's been fun to geek out. So yeah, gonna get the bike all dialed in. Gonna do some more aero testing next week with different water bottle setups to see how low I can get that after my experiment of making the front end lower the body didn't like. So let's try to make it more aerodynamic with some of the bottle setups, with some double bottles in the front, and just see what works, what doesn't. I'm just having so much fun with this Ghibli Aero sensor, being able to test anything and everything and not have to travel all the way to a wind tunnel. That's been very nice. Yeah, we'll see how fast we can go there.
You're just going to have to make that adjustment now that you're so popular with this amazing podcast that we have going on. Everyone's going to know you at all these races like they didn't already, but I'm just got to stay off your feet, Jenna.
Definitely. That's, it's funny. It's such a small world in triathlon. It's always fun going to these events, even like T100 in San Francisco. Like I didn't talk with anyone beforehand. It was more like a last minute thing. And you can't go more than a few hours without running into people from the sport, because as many people that do triathlon, it really is a small community, it's a lot of fun. You can show up anywhere to a race on your own and either talk to random people because you're all crazy enough to do triathlon, so you got something to talk about, or run into some familiar faces, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was that was one thing to get away from this week too. It was just like, it was me, and there was like one person at the pool that asked me like, "Oh, you run or you do triathlon?" Other than that, those people just don't. They're there to vacation and eat and drink. Here I come running back from my from my long run, diving in the pool all sweaty. Man, it was nice to get away from it too. But yeah, glad to be back.
Scenery is always good. Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of triathlon, there was a race that went on this weekend that, well, I'll let Fede pronounce because I am absolutely decimating this every time I attempt. So, Fede, there was a 70.3. Tell us what went on.
Yeah, so we had over in France 70.3 Les Sables, and we had the likes of Gustav coming back to racing. We had Cam Worth, Clement Mignon, 70.3 world champ Rico Bogan. So a pretty good field. And it looked like an amazing race, on the French coast. I mean, very little things can beat racing on that part of the world. And like I said earlier on the podcast, I was watching a video about Gustav, and he was getting ready for this specific race. And they asked him, "Do you think you're going to win?" And he said, "Probably not. But if I do, then that means the sport is not in a good place." Just being completely honest about his form and shape, and it's good to see that he's joking around once again. And he had a very tough year and a half with injury, of course, passing of his mom, just a lot of changes on his personal side. But he finished the race. He didn't win, so that's good for the sport, I guess, because then, but yeah, on the men's side, we had from Germany Niklas Mann winning, running a 1:11 half in 3:39. Second place, we had Yuri Kluin from the Netherlands. And on third place, Clement Mignon, who has been on a roll lately. He's a very, very strong swim biker. And it seems that he's figuring out the run because he ran a 1:11.40. So amazing performance from Clement. Of course, Cam Worth was there. Like you said, Jenna, he's been entering every single race. I think he Googles, what's the next race? What Ironman races near me? And then he just goes and enters those ones.
I think it was, we talked about this early in the year too, where, these guys just signed up for every Ironman race that they could, because if they didn't, they weren't getting on the start list.
Yeah, true. With the Pro Series and everything, then it means they need to get their name on the list early on.
A lot easier to drop.
Yeah, 100%. But that was on the men's side. And over the women's side, we had from Denmark, Laura Madsen taking the win. From Great Britain, Nikki Bartlett. And also from the Great Britain, Kate Curran coming in third place. And it was a much closer race on the women's side than on the men's side. Just 40 seconds separating Nikki from Laura, and 1 minute and 7 seconds separating Kate from Laura, who won the race. So very interesting race over the women's side. And now that we are in full swing with racing, it was a bit strange that this was the only pro field happening over this weekend, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been for a while getting quite a bit. Yeah, it was interesting to see Gustav's performance in there, but you know what? He ticked the box. He's done 270.3, so that means he has his Kona spot for later in the year. Now the question is, it's like October, it's like 4-ish months. can he get into Kona winning shape in that time period? Like, it's always easier when you've been there and know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, curious to see if he can get it done in that time period.
I mean, if we talk about it with Kristian all the time too with the Olympics, like he hasn't had great performances, but they're dialing in for the end of this month, and it didn't matter what Kristian did in April and May and all of that. There was one goal, and then there's a second goal, but the first goal is what he's been building towards. And I think the same thing with Gustav. I think this whole rehab protocol has been get him to Kona, check those boxes like Jenna just said, but at the same time, do not try and get to a point where you're trying to win those races, and just baby steps along the way. Fitness, let it come along, and baby walk that run. And now I think he's going to start really getting into a Kona build where the run has been coming along enough that they feel like they can start to add volume. And I'm sure we'll start to hear that, see that, and they love to share their technology and share their updates. So I'm sure we'll get some stuff from those guys up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think might have been Pro Tri News that I was listening to, where they're saying Blummenfelt was just saying at this point they're going to try to add a whole bunch of run volume and time on the track and hope that works. When from up until this point they've been very scientific, very structured about it, very much like, this is what we do, this is why it works, analyze everything, here's the plan forward. It does seem a little bit like throwing eggs at the wall and seeing if you crack or not. Obviously, they're a smart team and know what they're doing in there, but it was just, kind of surprising to hear that with the methodology, the Norwegian method that they have been following for the next little while. But it kind of raises the question. You had these two guys who are on the top of the world and doing everything, winning everything. You show up at a start line, they are gonna win it. Is it something that's sustainable, or is it a case of the Norwegian method means peaking for a short amount of time but taking years off of your career? I'm curious to see how it goes, because now they're kind of nowhere. Like, it's hard to say that about Kristian, but really he hasn't been there. What do you guys think?
No, that's a good point. I mean, I think that's something we're going to find out over the next few months for sure. I mean, your point is a good one. If it's valid, we'll find out in the near future. I think Paris is going to be that first checkpoint, and then find out in Kona, really, if this is something that, you're right, maybe it was, they got to that level and it's hard to stay there based on how high you went up, as opposed to a normal build like the rest of us humans.
Go there. Yeah, well, and you know what? They did it all ahead of schedule. They were aiming for this Olympics to be the one where they got the gold medal. So, be curious to see how that goes. There's definitely a lot of talk about the Norwegian method and whether it's something you can replicate or whether it's a case of these athletes were just something special. But I'm curious to see how that goes in the long run, because they do some awesome and crazy stuff, and it sounds like that's a lot of the driver behind Kristian potentially getting offered a cycling contract, is because with that would include a lot of the technology and research and everything that their team has done, and giving those pro cycling teams access to that. So be curious to see where it goes. It's definitely been an interesting experiment and something a little bit outside of the box, but long term, see if it sticks.
It's gonna be interesting to see, because I don't know where I read it, but I saw like this an anonymous pro mentioning or actually questioning about the Norwegian method, and he basically said everybody's praising the Norwegian method nowadays, but they don't mention that apparently for the only guy that seems to be working out long term is for the guy who basically has 3 lungs. So like Kristian with his massive VO2 and everything. And it seems like every long distance triathlete who has been, lurking with the idea of the Norwegian method, either they get burned out or injured. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this Olympics, and probably they crack the code for short distance racing and to peak for like one's Olympic cycle, but for longevity and sustainability and mental health and all of that, we have yet to see with a test of time, because we never saw like a Jan or a Javi Gomez or like an Alistair Brownlee, being that, having such a, I don't want to say bad season when it comes to Kristian, but like a completely different season from when, like, let's say when Ali won in 2012. He was still consistent in 2013, 14, 15, and he went and won the Rio Olympics in 2016. So we have yet to see if Kristian can do that, and if he can't, then that's probably something to do with their methods and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to, I heard the same thing kind of about the Seto, Brett Sutton kind of method for a while. Same deal.
Yeah.
Like they would throw it at the wall and see whoever didn't crack was going to be one of the greatest. Like we definitely saw it with like Chrissy and Danielle and stuff. But again, it works for a very small, super, like, just endurance machines that are almost abnormal in what they can actually achieve. But yeah, you'll be curious to see how the next little while comes out, because at the Olympics, you never really know. Anything can happen. Speaking of which, though, where will the Olympics be? I'm starting to hear more and more rumors about, potential moves, or will they just, dump some fresh water in before where they're just say, yeah, it's good enough. I have a hard time seeing it not be a triathlon. I think they'll do kind of whatever they need to. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I saw an article today, I think it was actually in like National Geographic, Nat Geo Instagram, where it was talking about the billions of dollars that they're now pumping out of the water. That there's a mad dash to get it as clean as possible. And a lot of money's being thrown at it. So it has to be a triathlon. And I think they're going to do whatever they can. And how do you move it logistically? Where do you do it? And you've got your transition and the bridge and everything is set up for the finish in the end. You got to start it there. So it's a triathlon or I don't know what the heck they're going to do, but they're throwing money at it. The French government is throwing the money that needs to be thrown at it. And let's just hope they can get a good stretch of water clean for a few days.
Yeah, I've heard some rumors about Nice and stuff, but yeah, there's a couple officials who were supposed to like go swim in it to show that it was fine, and like, yeah, no, there's a bunch of rainfall, so we're not gonna be able to. We'll try again later. It's like you're not building confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I want to stay positive, but right now I think the most smart choice would be to move them to Nice and give the athletes a peace of mind that yes, there's going to be a swim. Okay, you're going to have T2 and run around the Eiffel Tower and all of that, but at the end of the day, like you said, Jenna and Josh, it needs to be a triathlon. I mean, it's the Olympics. It would be weird if they said last minute, guess what, guys, we're going to do a duathlon, and then you lose a whole lot of potential people coming into the sport just because a swim never happened.
Man, that's where like Hayden Wild and Alex E are just like so far ahead of everyone else from the gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That would change up the dynamics for sure. Yeah, be curious to see what happens there. Hopefully it'll happen and there's no detriment. Because even if you think about it, like there's the individual triathlon, but then they all have to do the mixed team relay a couple days later. So if there are like stomach issues or illness issues afterwards, that decimates the mixed relay, really.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got all of the Paralympians too. I mean, we had friend of the pod, Ben Hoffman, on, and he's one of the guides for that too. So I mean, they actually did duathlons in the test event last year. So
yeah,
you wonder how that's going to go. So let's not forget about these other amazing athletes that are still out there too. And there's so many different qualifications and categories there too that they've got to get in the water and out too. So it's a big effort. But like Fede said, I'm trying to stay positive as well.
Yeah. Like you said, Josh, like imagine if they do move the men and women's event to Nice, and then they decide to go back to Paris for the Paralympics. Then what does that mean about the sport? They need to either move all of the men, women, and Paralympics to Nice, or have all duathlons and invite all of the duathletes around the world to take part.
There you go. Some teams will definitely be regretting their team selection. It ends up being a duathlon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine if you're at the Olympics and your role is to be a domestic, like on the swim and bike. Yeah.
That's when the US should have picked like Gwen Jorgensen kind of thing. Get off the run in the front.
Run?
Catch up, run again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, lots of fun ahead. The Olympics, we are counting down. I've got to actually create a post for Cycling Canada that we're coming up to 3 weeks until it starts, which is craziness. But I'm so excited to see it kick off this year. We'll all be watching intently to see it all go down. And, we'll be watching Taylor Knibb for it feels like half of the Olympics with all the various events she's doing at this point. But it should be a lot of fun.
We definitely have our fair share of events to get us to that point too. That we're currently watching that kicked off in the last week, and I mean it's unbelievable what the world of endurance sports and cycling and swimming and bike. I mean, to watch some of these elite athletes and know that Paris is still out there. We got to get through. We had to get to France.
Yeah.
Spent a little time in Italy, but man, the Tour de France has been unbelievable so far, and it'll make the time to the Olympics pass a little bit quicker.
It definitely helps. That actually brings me to my what the F of the week that I've been so excited to talk about all afternoon now. What the F? The record has been broken. Mark Cavendish got his stage win. He has the most stage wins at the Tour de France in an incredible finish today. So many people were saying, no, he's washed up after last year almost getting it and finally making it happen today, which I was hearing a few facts about it. You know what the craziest part is? His first win was in 2008, his first stage win.
Yeah.
And one of the guys he raced against in that stage win, his son got into cycling, had his career in cycling, and is already retired in the span of time that Cavendish wins. Unreal.
Wow. Speaking about that, I wanted to share something with you guys and with the audience. Daniel Lloyd, so a former pro cyclist, and he's with a GCN. He tweeted this, and I'm just reading the tweet. I've written Mark Cavendish off at least 3 times in the last 8 years, and every time he's proven me and all of the other doubters wrong. His first Tour stage victory was 16 years ago, what you said, Jenna. Lenny Martinez was 4 years old when Cav won his first Tour stage. The longevity is incredible, but so is the will to win, the need to win. Whatever had happened over those 3 weeks, he could have retired a happy man. But I'm beyond delighted that he's just passed this iconic event, and this is just icing on the cake. Congratulations, Mark Cavendish. And yeah, I mean, the longevity, 39 years old and still sprinting like he's, 22. Just amazing. Amazing.
Well, these other
especially
sprinters,
after a rough day one too, where he was like just inside the clock with 9 minutes to go, and it was like he just wasn't feeling. He's like, yeah, normally it takes me a little while to get going in the Tour, but I didn't expect it to be that close on day one.
There's not a ton of sprint opportunities in this Tour either. Like the way they have it set up this year, like it's either going to happen very quickly or probably not.
And it sounds like they were targeting this day, like not the other day, which also we got to talk about the epicness that happened there, and our first African champ and Tour stage winner. I mean, unbelievable. but this was the stage they were targeting. And and he said everything about putting this team together was today. And everything that happens from here on, and his team was there. Like you could see some of these other stages, the team wasn't pulling together. They were somebody was having issues. Today they were there and they got him to where he needed to be, and nobody else could go with him. And we talked about before we started recording the epic crash that was behind him and the bunny hop to get over at those speeds. And Cav just went alone. I mean, I'd love to see him get another one where we actually see him come from behind and have that patented Cav finish. This one was just, he outsmarted everyone and took it.
That's exactly it. That race mindset and intelligence and just finding those spots. There's so many points in there where he could have easily been boxed in. Like that was, I saw a couple tweets like that was handed to him or they fabricated this finish. It's like, they were jumping shoulders. Like there was some near misses into that run and he was elbowing his way, making sure he had the spot and just got it done. Surfed the right wheels. He just seems to know how to find those holes and the right wheels to follow. And then just unleashes it because he'll say to himself, he's not the fastest sprinter. He doesn't have the power output of some of these other guys. He's twice the age of some of his competitors. But that race intelligence and reading the peloton around him, finding that way through is just a masterclass. That was very cool.
I was waiting for the review because there were a few bumps and elbows being thrown along the way, especially when they were all off to the right. And then when he finally found his hole and broke off to the left, he was gone. But it was dicey. It was dicey when they were cutting around to the right there.
Well, I was kind of worried for a second because he definitely deviated from his race line. And so I guess from what I've read since then, if you do that and it puts another rider in danger, then that is something that can get you kind of relegated. But if you're not putting someone else into danger, then it's fine. So yeah, that was one of those things where it's like, I hope like ASO doesn't come back being like, well, but he didn't put anyone in danger there. It was just, like I said, just trying to get away, make sure no one could be on his wheel. And it wasn't even a close finish. Like, he had more than a bike length, like against some of these guys who have some insane power outputs. It was fantastic. And then actually Fede brought up his chain afterwards, just flying off. Yeah.
Insane. I mean, I remember watching the profile stay for all this 21 stages, and yesterday I actually was looking at the profile and I was like, this has Cavendish written all over it. If it's not tomorrow, it's going to be the day after, because also tomorrow's stage could be a day where we could see Cav going back to back. I was listening to Lance and George Hincapie's podcast, the We Do podcast, and they were saying, I mean, it's like he beat a guy, Jasper Philipsen, who's arguably one of the best sprinters who's ever been there, alive. And the fact that, like you mentioned, Jenna, his racing IQ got in the right wheels. Also, Josh texted us during the day. He was so patient throughout the last kilometers. Just a masterclass on how to sprint and utilize your strengths to your advantage. And I couldn't be happier because, 35 stage wins. I mean,
unreal.
I mean, some people make their careers by just winning one stage.
Yeah.
let alone 35.
And if anyone is curious, the most stage wins in Grand Tours, that record, unfortunately, Cav is not going to reach. It's still at 65 with Merckx. So I don't think he's going to stick around that much longer. But the Tour is the one that everyone cares about. And it is something, absolutely incredible. I was like out of my seat cheering and stuff when it was getting close and got emotional afterwards. It was just so cool to see that dedication, that longevity in the sport, and finally just making it happen. It was really cool.
And it seems like it's fitting too, because this tour is setting up to be an epic tour. Well, it's setting up to be a Toddy mic drop, but I still think Jonas is back in form enough where he can put a run into him. it's been a really cool tour to watch. I mean, the fact that the two of them went together and Jonas answered the bell and when Tade first went that one day, and then what Tade did yesterday was just insane. And my social media post of the day is relevant to the tour as well, because now that we've talked about Cav winning, if you haven't seen, it'll be on the Tour de France page and Tade's page. But after the race, Cav's son in his Astana jersey is back by the stage before they go up, and Tade comes out walking around with his yellow jersey on and has a nice little conversation. His mom goes, when he saw Mark win, he was like, wait, and there goes Tade. And it was like he totally forgot his dad had just won. And he was more excited about Tade winning. And Tade hands him his sunglasses, as Tade always does something cool with the kids and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really neat thing. And then also in the social media world, keep your eyes out on Mr. Jan Ferdinand's page tomorrow, because apparently he's been teasing like he's a true influencer in retirement, and he's got a big announcement to make tomorrow. So there's our social media news.
Curious to see what that is. But you're right, this tour has been incredible. And actually just saw a video with Jonas saying, hey, like at this point we're expecting to be like 4 minutes, like 2 to 4 minutes down. And that it's at less than a minute, like that's great. And the first 4 stages were absolutely monsters. Like, and he only lost like 5 seconds in that sprint from Pogačar. He lost some more time on the descent, which really blame him after a crash that put him in the hospital for weeks and weeks. But hopefully he'll get that feel for the road back and they actually see some battles here. I think a lot of people were expecting after the first 4 stages to see today like 5 to 10 minutes ahead of everyone else, but we actually have a bit of a battle going on. So Pogačar will be at fitness, and we'll see if Jonas gets stronger throughout, and could be fun.
Especially with the time trial.
Yeah.
After last year.
Crazy. I was gonna say that the tour is far from over, and Jenna, I think I watched the same interview where Jonas said we were expecting to lose time on the first 4 stages, and the fact that it's just 50 seconds now, it gives us a lot of hope. So I think Jonas is racing himself into shape, while Tade is just maintaining his big shape. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the time trial, and I'm just calling it now. I think Remco is going to be way faster than those 2 guys. So don't be surprised if Remco spices things up between those 2.
Nice.
Yeah, be curious to see. He definitely has some power. But Josh kind of alluded to it too. We have Bidem Girmay. He had an absolute, like, again, another incredible record and piece of history in the sport. He was the first Black African rider to win a stage of the Tour de France. And then today we actually saw him getting the green jersey as well, another first when it comes to the sport. So just super inspiring to see. And this first few days of the tour has not left us wanting for anything. It has not been the big teams just dominating. It's been small teams and mix-ups, and it's been so good.
And now they're finally in France, as I mentioned.
Right? We're just getting to France.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Okay. We know you guys don't come for Tour de France talk, but we get a little sucked into it. Anything endurance sports, you can't go wrong. The stories, the fun, the challenges ahead. And like Fede mentioned, it's been a little bit quieter on the racing front. But let's get back to our bread and butter here, triathlon. We've got a little race coming up this weekend that there's been a bit of chatter about. We have Challenge Roth, one of the most iconic races in the sport. This is one that is definitely on my bucket list, and all this lead up, I've been kind of thinking maybe next year would be good to try it out, but we will see. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting event this year. I was kind of worried that Roth wouldn't have many people out there with all the T100, the Ironman Pro Series, but you know what? Roth treats the pro athletes very, very well, incentivizes them to come out there. So we've actually ended up with a decent start list. Are you guys excited to watch it this weekend?
I don't know how you can't be. Roth to me is it's a spectacle. It's meant to be watched. It's meant to be enjoyed. The fans are unbelievable. the host families. I mean, you see some of these athletes getting over there and like there's signs outside, welcome triathletes and welcome to your new home. And it's done right. I think it is really triathlon done right. And to enjoy the sport to its fullest, this is what this weekend's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we dive into the start list, there was a post on the Triathlon Hour that kind of clears up some of the rules going into Challenge Roth. And, wouldn't it be nice if all of these series just had the same rules across the board?
Jenna, come on now.
Follow distance, shoes, bladders, all that fun. But no. We got to mix it up every time. So if you're curious for this race, here are the rules for the professional athletes that might look a little different. So it'll be a wetsuit swim. Don't wear your race bib number. That's something that's kind of standard across. You don't want to saw your race bib number. During the bike, all bottles, arrow inserts, soft flasks, or water bladders are banned from being worn down the front of your tri-suit. So we're not going to see those super arrow, funny looking in pictures, bladders down the front. So if you want to get your arrow gains, well, one, get a Ghibli and try it out that way. But you need to do it a different way. So I'm curious to see if we see any interesting bottle setups like Joe Skipper had for a while. Where you don't really see much, but apparently it goes faster.
Just get behind Magnus and try and stay behind him.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, that guy, I can't imagine he provides much of a draft with how slippery he is through the air with all of his aerodynamic testing. And then again into the aero side, because we're all obsessed with aerodynamics these days, all front-end aerodynamic setups, bottles, aero fairings, etc. will be inspected pre-race, and if they're deemed to give an unfair advantage or be unsafe, the athletes will be told to remove them. So something similar we're seeing in the Ironman kind of series as well. You can't just duct tape yourself a fairing across the front, which, I mean, as long as it's safe, I don't see if there's a big issue because you can just go buy something that does the same deal but costs you $1,000, and that would be okay. But anyways, they will leave it to their discretion. And then, due to crowding on lap 2 of the bike, Challenge Roth is enforcing a 12-meter draft zone. Race Ranger will be in use, and we've talked lots about it. 12 meters with these pro athletes and the speeds they're going is not much. There's definitely an aerodynamic gain there. Now the question will be is if the refs will be like Ironman and use Race Ranger to give out penalties, or be like T100 and see lots of red lights and go, oh, that's pretty. We'll see which way they go there. Yeah, and typically Roth, hopefully they fixed this, but typically Roth, there tends to be some moto involvement in the front pack there. We've heard it from a few athletes. And again, Joe Skipper said that's why he probably won't do it again, is because if you get out of the swim first, you get some assistance there. So hopefully we'll see the motos far ahead so we can have some clean racing. Super tuck, bike position band, fair, totally a safety thing. But here's the interesting one that made us really excited about a couple athletes on course, which unfortunately the showdown won't happen, but World Athletic Running Shoe Guidelines do not apply at Challenge Roth. So that means whatever crazy prototype shoe with a 2-foot stack and 10 carbon fiber plates in it, you can rock those and see how fast you can go. Any thoughts on some of those rules there, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the shoe rule was put in place because there is talks that the marathon record was gonna go down, and which brings me to to say that Tomas Rodriguez, a Mexican athlete, he said he was not going to race Roth for personal reasons. So it was going to be exciting to see him and Patrick battling it out, whilst Magnus was probably going to be at the finish line 30 minutes earlier than those guys, but they were going to be battling for the record. But yeah, I don't know. I think with the shoe thing, I think they need to comply with the with every other international body that regulates shoes, because I don't know. Then some pro who has the resources may come to the race with like a super awesome prototype and then 75 carbon plates and just bounces himself to the finish line.
Start seeing springs on the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's funny. I kind of find it funny at times how they're more stringent around the shoes things, where bikes are kind of like anything goes, and that's the whole impetus behind triathlon bikes. But I think at some point it does become a little less safe if you've got a foot of padding beneath you. But yeah, that's an interesting one. They're definitely, all of these rules say to me that they want to have a new world record.
Yeah. Which,
yeah.
I mean, I understand, but at the end of the day, all of us who follow the sport know that it's gonna be like it's gonna have an asterisk, that world record, if it falls down, because then we're gonna be talking, well, which shoe did the athlete use? How many carbon fiber plates did the shoe had? Is it available to the public? What if, I don't know, he ran in a regular shoe? I don't know. Just make it fair and honest, like all of the races. And if the record falls, then so be it. I mean, Challenge Roth has always been an amazing race when it comes to taking care of the athletes and everything. But I think this is just one big marketing tool to get more eyes to follow the race. But I don't know. I wouldn't do it myself. Like, I just race with the regular rules.
I think it's a hazard for the athletes themselves. Like, if I'm somebody, Magnus has more to go after this year. So would you risk that to put it on a different shoe and never be able to race in it again? So I don't think you're going to see too many people taking advantage of the shoe rule. I mean, you might see some runners who are coming from behind with some crazy ass run splits and, yeah, like you said, asterisk. But the overall winner isn't wearing a super shoe. That's illegal in the world of triathlon, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Lange came out with, because he's used some prototype shoes in the past to try to get those faster run splits. So I would not be surprised if he comes out with something that's not available and kind of super secret things. But that's the thing. Like you said, he has the resources, the sponsorships where they're able to give him these shoes to race and train in. And I know there are a few shoe brands that have, I can't remember which one it is, but they have a one-time use marathon shoe that's like 600 euros.
Wow. Really?
Time use shoe, which
My
is
God.
crazy.
Let's do the math.
Yeah.
600 over 42. That's like 15 euros a kilometer.
Divided by steps. Come on.
Right.
Oh, it's craziness. And you know what? It really is. It's sad to see that Rodriguez won't be at this race. It sounds like Roth was going to be giving out this big bonus to see if anyone could go under 2:30 for the first time, and whoever did and went the fastest would get that time. So obviously the headliners you'd be thinking for that is Rodriguez and Patrick Lange. Unfortunately, he has dropped out due to personal reasons and has not said what that is. And interestingly, hasn't told the race organizers what it is at all.
Yeah.
So
weird.
Hopefully everything's okay there. Was listening again to the Triathlon Hour that first little bit there and had Belinda Granger, who's the athlete rep for Challenge Roth. And they kind of went into a conversation that's very valid these days is, when we give you these contracts and pay you to show up and come to the events, and, in some cases there's absolutely valid reasons. We don't know what's going on. Could be something serious where you can't race, but it's like, when you don't show up to this and then a week later show up at a T100 and your Ironman 70.3 or something like that, we kind of know it's nothing.
True.
It's this year more than ever, I think the T100 is realized or seeing a lot of that, which is unfortunate, but there's just so much racing these days. But I would have been really curious to see how that'd go down. Like, if him and Patrick had a very good incentive to go under 2:30, are they just soft pedaling on the bike and trying to run a fast marathon? Or do they have that racer mindset like, I want to win while doing this?
Right.
It'd is exciting if they were like an hour behind on the bike and then run 2:30.
Like a
place.
a 5:55 bike split, and then just run 2:24. Yeah.
Just under the cutoff time.
Yeah.
Look at him pass all those age groupers.
Oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, well, you know, it's still. I know all the talk was more around Rodriguez, but I think Patrick Lange has the same kind of deal in there. So I'll be curious to see what he does on the course. But I can't see him kind of holding back and saying, I mean, yeah, 20th place, but a 2:30. Like he has enough of a Palmares that doesn't make a big difference. Right?
So instead of averaging 320 watts, does he average 280?
Right.
Really aero.
Yeah. We can't go too aero because we got restrictions around the bladder.
Yeah,
right.
True.
You don't want to take those running hips out.
12.0001 meters behind the person in front or the moto.
Yeah. Hey, Race Ranger allows him to get that close.
Yeah, and that's the funny part. Like, I think we've talked about it before. It's like the 20-meter draft zones that make sure the athletes are far enough, but the 12-meter draft zones, it almost helps them stay closer because they can see where the edge is, right?
I think it's one of the reasons for it is I think it's always been about safety and clean racing, but it's also to make for more competitive racing, because if you can get packs together coming off the bike, it's going to make for a more interesting run and finish to the race. So if people can do it legally and safely at 12 to 15 meters and not be at 18 because they don't have a light in front of them and don't know that they're not drafting as well as they could be, it makes for a better race.
No, absolutely. And you know what? I think that's a lot of the thought around Ironman, which is just silly that Jimmy Riccatello is saying, oh, there's no proof that there's a draft in there. At least be honest about why you're doing it, not just like I can understand the age groupers. There's not enough room on course for them to all be 20 meters, but pros, they should be 20 meters. I mean,
at 26, 28 miles per hour.
Right. That's exactly it, especially at those kind of speeds. Just craziness. Well, let's dive into the actual starters for Challenge Roth here. So I'm going again to the Triathlon Hour because I found it challenging to find the details on the Challenge Roth site, ironically. We have a few starters here. We got Magnus Dietlev, Daniel Bækkegård, Rudy von Berg, Peter Heimrich, Patrick Lange, Jan Stratman, Leon Chevalier, Clement Mignon, Andy Starkowitz. Haven't seen him on a start list for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. And Nick Chase from the Tri Squad there. Let's see.
And Clement is out too, so I think.
Oh, right. He's out. And then, heard rumors that possibly Cam Worth is just going to jump in last minute to do an Ironman because why not? That like he doesn't show up to a bunch of the races that he's in, and then he's like, I'm not on the start list. I'm going to go race that one.
Yeah. I remember one time Cam Worth was asked this question, and he was like, I still gotta train, and gels are expensive, so races are just like catered training days.
Going to all the Ironman courses to get those Morton gels.
Yeah.
Stock up. Oh, so what do you guys think? What are we looking at with Challenge Roth this year? What's this race going to look like? We always know it's a fast bike and admittedly a little short run, so it should be fast there. Do you guys think we're going to see that 2:30 barrier broken at Challenge Roth this year?
Maybe if Rudy's chased by a pack of bees.
Hey, unleash the bees. Yes.
Fair point. If anyone hasn't heard, in the lead up to Challenge Roth, Rudy von Berg was on a training ride, and during his ride, he was attacked by a large group of bees, and riding at 52.6 kilometers an hour, causing him to crash. So he lost a bit of skin because of some bees. We're getting some weird animal interactions. There was in Malibu, someone was attacked by, was it the seal or something? And man, it's dangerous out there.
What's next? Like a capybara attacks someone on the run?
Mm-hmm. Man, don't, yeah, stress me. There's so many animals in Australia that can kill me. I'm like, that's one of the things I'm trying not to think about.
Right.
Well, let's go with the predictions here with Challenge Roth. We'll start with you, Fede. Who do you think takes it out on the weekend?
Well, I mean, I think we all three can agree that
Yeah.
we would pick Magnus, so I'm just gonna not pick him and let you guys
Oh,
pick him. I'm gonna go with another Dane. I'm gonna go and pick Daniel Bekkegaard for the win.
that's a good one. Do we all just want to say we think Magnus, but next best?
Yeah, Magnus is off the board. We'll take 2, 3, 4.
There we go. How about you, Josh? Who do you got here?
I'm gonna go with Rudy. I mean, he's there. Let's I'll leave the rest of them out there for you, Jenna. But it's a short field. I think I don't think it's too deep of a field. But this race is special, and some of these people that have done it before, which is, I think, that's on top of everything with Magnus. He's done it before. He's won it before, and he knows what it's about. So, let's see if we can get another good performance from an American. We had Ben Canute had a great performance last year. Rudy Van Berg's had a pretty decent season. We know he's in shape. He's been at, I think, every T100.
Yeah.
And gotten a little better at each, but hasn't had a great year. But maybe he's building to Roth, and we'll see what he does here.
I like it. I want to. Part of me just wants to say Starkey, because that would be like if you're betting and that happens, you get like the biggest return. No, you know what? Super Shoes, money on the table for a run record. I gotta go Patrick Lange. I think he is just gonna have a crazy run out there, and yeah, I think he's got a shot at that 2:30 barrier. I just hope he doesn't soft pedal on the bike to get a run time. But he's going for that Ironman Pro Series, and this doesn't count for it. So yeah, curious to see how he prioritizes it. But can't go too wrong, Patrick Lange.
I don't think it's in the German DNA to soft pedal the bike, so probably you're safe with that pick.
Especially in Roth, yeah. That's the big thing. I think there's a lot of pride in that race as well when it comes to being a German in Roth. Well, let's jump to the women's side. So on the list, we've got Laura Phillips, Els Visser, Anne Reichman, Danielle Lewis, Svenja Throws.
Annie Hogg been added.
Annie Hogg, yeah, we got a last minute call up there. You know, like Laura Phillips, Annie Hogg and stuff, like, gotta wonder with the T100 and everything. Like, they're not trying.
And Els Visser too, I saw, is on the start list for Vittoria the following week. So you've got the big Ironman Pro Series race. So is she doing both? Is she dropping from Ironman? Is she going to drop from Roth? She's had a great year. So that's another interesting one for me. Like, what if she does a back-to-back Ironman? Full distance? I mean, can't morph it?
Yeah, right? Yeah, there's been a lot of chatter that the women's field was soft in Roth this year. So they've definitely, unlike Ironman, presented some financial incentives for some athletes to show up, which, you know, good on them. They really do have a reputation for treating the pro athletes so well and recognizing that they bring value. So yeah, I wonder if she'll switch it up after that or do back-to-back, because why not? Everyone's racing everything all year this year. You never know.
And she's leading the way. I mean, this has got to be like her 7th, 8th race, something like that at this point.
Unreal. Like, you really, it's fun to see these things. You just really hope they have some of that longevity. And this doesn't crack people. Because beyond injury, there's just that deep-seated fatigue kind of thing when you dig yourself in a hole. Talking about Mark Cavendish and stuff, like, he went through years with that just deep fatigue where he couldn't really do much. Yeah. So, yeah, you don't want to see that. Anyways, we'll start with you, Josh. Who do you have for the win here?
Well, I mean, do we take Annie Hogg off the board and go for the rest of them? I
think so.
I think that's probably how we should go here. And you know what? If Els is there and she's starting, I'm going to go with Els Visser.
Yeah, super strong and tough. Yeah, I can see that. How about you, Fede?
I'm going to go pick another German with Laura Philipp. I think she has a chip on her shoulder, and everybody's talking about Annie, and maybe she's there to prove a point. So yeah, I'm betting on Laura.
It's a good
I
pick.
like it. You know what? Danielle Lewis has been having a great year so far. You know what? Let's see if we can get a North American up on that podium and see what she can do over in Roth. I think it'll be her first time at Challenge Roth. So, yeah.
It is. Yeah, she's been documenting the whole thing on social media.
Oh, okay.
From the travels to get over there, and how many flights and how many layovers and how many hours. And I think they're both doing it too. I think her husband's doing it as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely, I need to get over to that race. It just looks epic. So much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've got a fun race to watch this weekend, something a little different from the T100 and Ironman series that we have been watching. Hopefully they'll have some good coverage. It sounds like they'll have lots of good commentary. You got Belinda Granger, who's always great at this. Jack Kelly will be over there. And I think Sebi Keenley, I think, is their third commentator. Yeah.
Awesome.
So he'll have some good insight into the races. But do you guys have anything else that we missed this week that you wanted to chat about in the world of triathlon?
I think that's it on our end. We did have another couple, at least one more mono teammate punched their ticket in the last week of 70.3 up at Happy Valley, which apparently wasn't so happy with the heat and all that. I know my coach had a struggle of a day, but she still pulled out a second overall, which was amazing. But yeah, kudos to everyone who had a good day in Penn State, because it looked like it was brutal. They had nasty storms and nasty swim, and it was not wetsuit legal. So tough day for all, and they still threw down some amazing times.
No, it's going to be great to see some racing, and definitely great to see the mono athletes crushing it out on course. But we are looking forward to seeing how Challenge Roth goes down and continuing to geek out over the Tour de France, because it's stage 5. There's a whole lot of racing to go.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked.
It's
Awesome.
early.
Have a great night, guys. We will be back next week.
See you later, guys.